of how we use social media. It's not just about the platforms themselves.
To the preservation of the national unity and democratic stability.
Water is life, water is an essential service, and then we must have to carry out the residents.
Local communities are not only vital to the growth of society, but they also form the bedrock of humanitarian development.
Hello and welcome to The Reporter, a news and current affairs program that goes beyond the headlines, bringing reporters from the field to give first-hand accounts and in-depth analysis of unfolding issues, correspondents' perspectives, ensuring balanced, credible, and comprehensive storytelling. I am Anieti Patrick. It's good to have you join us on The Reporter today, where we'll bring you interesting stories around Nigeria and, of course, the globe. Let's start from the front, Nigeria here, where build-up to 2027 general elections is really burning up, with the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who has stressed the need to rescue Nigeria from its current challenges as he submitted his his nomination form, not national nomination form, for the 2027 presidential election under the platform of the African Democratic Congress. Our political correspondent, Ubong Usoro, tells us more.
Atiku Abubakar submitted the nomination form at the National Secretariat of the African Democratic Congress in Abuja as preparations continue ahead of the party's presidential primary for the 2027 general elections. According to Atiku, the country is in urgent need of purposeful leadership capable of addressing the economic and social difficulties confronting citizens. Atiku stated that the ADC remains committed to building a stronger and more inclusive Nigeria through democratic governance and people-oriented policies. The submission of the nomination forms officially confirms his entry into the race for the party's presidential ticket ahead of the 2027 presidential election. Atiku joins other aspirants within the ADC as political activities continue to gather momentum ahead of the polls. Ubong Usoro, Global TV News.
Still staying with the issues around the build-up to 2027 general elections, the former Rivers State Governor and ex-Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amaechi has criticized the current economic hardship in the country and blamed the administration of President Bola Tinubu for the challenges facing Nigerians, as he declared his intention to contest as well for the 2027 presidential election. Our political correspondent, Ubong Usoro, again tells us more.
Rotimi Amaechi submitted his expression of interest and nomination forms at the National Secretariat of the African Democratic Congress in Abuja ahead of the party's presidential primary for the 2027 general elections. Speaking after the submission, Amaechi said leadership should be based on competence, merit, and experience rather than ethnicity, religion, and regional consideration. The former Minister of Transportation maintained that his record in public service, both as Governor of Rivers State and as Federal Minister, demonstrates his capacity to lead the country. Amaechi also expressed readiness for a direct primary election, while noting he would support a consensus arrangement if adopted by the party. He joins other aspirants within the ADC seeking the party's presidential ticket as political activities ahead of the 2027 elections continue to gather momentum. Ubong Usoro, Global TV News.
And joining me right here in the studio to bring us a breakdown to how this is going to pan out, with the party having big weeks in the party having to pick form for presidential seats, is Ubong Usoro, to explain to us, Nigerians, let me use the term Nigerians because we all want to find out how this will play out. Hello, Ubong. It's good to have you join me. Okay, so I'm concerned. I was asking before we came back here, how will this play out for Nigerians? Why would the party, the African Democratic Congress, where we have big wigs who were expecting to merge together, picking separately the presidential nomination for?
Yeah, I think that in a way is a good thing for the party because after the departure of Peter Obi, the party had lost some steam. So it needed some statements that people still believe in the ADC. And with Atiku Abubakar now picking form, and Atiku is no politician of mean repute, right? And having somebody like Rotimi Amaechi, who is also very strong politically, former governor, former minister, also picking form, Ayatollah, a former DG of Nigerian Economic Council. These are great Nigerians who've picked form, showing that they believe in the party, right? So the party is not totally dead, as some people would have envisioned after the departure of Peter Obi. The party is still alive and kicking. But as to what is the level of how the party is alive, those are questions I could answer. So it could also be a publicity stunt, right? Because at the end of the day, the party may decide to go on consensus, which Rotimi Amaechi said that if the party decides to go on consensus, he will gladly believe in the party. And some of us are hearing that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has more structure in the party. And if a consensus agreement is to be made, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar obviously will, because it's a front, will emerge as a consensus candidate. So it could be just let's boost the party's profile. A lot of news now has been centered on the ADC. Remember, after the NDC convention, there wasn't more light on the party. So just to gather the base of the party.
Okay, so from my perspective, I'm wondering, because Nigerians also be looking at the same thing. What qualities of leadership should Nigerians be looking out for? Because like you mentioned, these are very strong members of the party and who are not player or little players when it comes to politics in Nigeria and the political space. So what qualities should Nigerians be looking out for in terms of the leadership of the presidency? And do you see the Democratic Party, the African Democratic Congress, emerging as a strong force against other opposition party with what we see them displaying right now, the nomination form?
Well, I think let me start from the last thing we said. I think the ADC is still a strong force, especially in northern Nigeria, right? Because of the person of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Like he said, after the death of Muhammadu Buhari, he thinks that he's the most sought after politicians from the north, and you can rightly argue with him, unarguably, because if you look at the data over time, he's the only politician in the north that has been following Buhari in terms of support, right? In the last election, he had 6.7 million votes. Bola Tinubu had 8 million votes. There was no other northern politician that even had up to 2 million votes. Someone like Kwankwaso had 1 point something. So Atiku is far ahead if we are using the last statistics. But these are human beings. People could change, emotion could change. But whatever statistics is still very far ahead. So in the north, the ADC will make inroads. They will win elections in the north. But will they win the national election? That is what it may be a bit difficult to say yes, because the national election, you need national spirit. And someone that would have given them spirit into the southeast, like Peter Obi has left the party. Someone that would have given them spirit into the northwest, like Kwankwaso has left the party. So it's just the northeast where Atiku is very strong, right? So those are issues that the party has to really look at. But I think if the party is able to get somebody who is strong, if Atiku emerges eventually, get somebody strong from the south, they could also pull some, but to win, ultimately, I don't think it's going to be easy for them.
Okay, so one will wonder, as the political campaigns begin to gather momentum, questions are asked, should Nigeria focus on competence, performance, and push away ethnicity and the divide, religious drama that brings us to a standpoint of division with this fonts we've seen with, or this display we've seen rather with Amaechi and Atiku?
Right, I think religious ethnicity is a narrative that is sold by those who, the elite class, who don't want Nigerians to actually come together. For me, the things that binds us together are more than the things that separate us.
Sure, definitely.
The poverty that we suffer in Nigeria is transcultural, it's everybody, you know. And the inflation that we're suffering in Nigeria, it doesn't matter if you're north now or south now, it's the same transportation we pay. The lack of good quality healthcare system. It's everybody. So the challenges that bind us together is more
Then that separates us.
Yeah, I think this is the message
divides,
that
rather.
Politicians are spreading, that yes, there are challenges in the country. Amechi said the same thing. Atiku said he wants to rescue Nigeria from the current challenges imposed by the
in terms of the economic stability.
Right. So I think these are messages that should drive a conversation towards governance, and not where is this person coming from, where is this person not coming from. Although there will still be persons that will vote based on that sentiment, but we should try to outgrow such sentiments.
Okay, we hope the Nigerians get to outgrow sentiments and build on capacity and competence, so we get the Nigeria of our dreams someday. Thank you so much, Ubong Usoro, for your time with us. While we let Ubong Usoro step out, let's also turn our focus to the education fund, where the federal government is set to end years of fragmented education records and weak planning with the rollout of the Nigerian education data infrastructure, a unified national platform designed to transform data management across the sector. The Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, stated this at the stakeholders workshop in Abuja, focused on building an integrated education data system for Nigeria. Global TV's Priscilla Obasi tells us more.
At the stakeholders workshop in Abuja, Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, described the initiative as a major reform designed to eliminate inconsistency, improve transparency, and strengthen planning across education sector. He said unreliable and fragmented data systems have over the years weakened policy implementation, resource allocation, and effective monitoring within the sector. The minister added that the platform will also strengthen students' identity management and help curb examination malpractice, including the activities of so-called miracle centers.
If you don't use data in planning, in formulating your plans, in intervening and monitoring outcome, it's like you're flying blind. So data is everything, and we have to be at the forefront of it if we have to build the economy. Then we're talking about evidence-based planning, evidence-based governance. You plan, you intervene, you monitor your outcomes, and you see, are your intervention working? If they're not working, what tweak do you need to do?
The coordinator, Nigerian Education Data Infrastructure, Dr. Abubakar Isa, explained that the project is currently in the design and integration stage, with data sources already being mapped across federal and state institutions. According to him, the goal is to establish a seamless national education database capable of supporting real-time decision-making and improving accuracy across the sector.
A unified data-driven platform that transforms educational outcomes through advanced analytics and comprehensive data integration. The platform will enable policymakers, educators, and administrators to make informed decisions, optimize resource allocation, and drive system improvement.
UNICEF representative Vanessa Lee commended the federal government for driving the initiative, describing integrated education data as critical to improving learning outcomes and reducing the numbers of out-of-school children. She reaffirmed UNICEF's support towards building a more inclusive and reliable education data system for Nigeria.
That data-driven planning and management are crucial to address the challenges in the education sector and provide learning opportunities for all children in Nigeria. It holds education stakeholders accountable for the delivery of quality education.
The initiative is expected to integrate data from basic, secondary, technical, vocational, and tertiary institutions alongside examination bodies and regulatory agencies into a single national platform. Priscilla Obasi, Global TV News.
social media. It's not just about the platforms themselves.
To the preservation of the national unity and democratic stability.
Water is life, water is an essential service, and then we must have to carry out the residents.
Local communities are not only vital to the growth of society, but they also form the bedrock of humanitarian development.
2006, 10 years after, and nobody really has a data, an empirical fact to how many we are in the country. Everything is basically, speculations, approximations, and all of that. And we cannot have good planning without real data. So bringing this into the educational system, I would really commend the Minister of Education. This is a welcome development. Amazing. This is the beginning of, the problems that have lingered over years. I think this very initiative will solve it.
Okay, so if you think so will the NEDI, if I call it properly, that's it's called the NEDI initiative, finally tackle examination malpractice? Because of course we have that as one of the challenges we have in the education sector. And would that eliminate that and also bring the miracle of miracle centers across the country?
So it used to be a thing. I think the Minister of Education has even brought up strategies to reduce the numbers of miracle centers we have in existence. But one of the promises they made was this would help. And how would it help? Of course, when you have the data of every single center, and the Minister of Education, the Minister of Women Affairs also spoke about the fact that before now, prior to now, would have JAMB registration numbers, multiple, a duplication of the registration numbers across different exams. But with this, with the student identification number right now, you just need one number for different exams. So it's possible to track those defaulting. It's possible to track centers defaulting. It's possible to track the records of a student. For example, I go to a particular school in JSS1, I live there and maybe I was expelled. Do you understand? And I want to go to a different school. There is a data to track where I'm coming from. There is data to say, this is why this person left the school.
And then we should look at what the challenges the person could bring into the system as well. Exactly. And talking about bringing that to the system, let's look at the data brought in this education data platform. How will that help to reduce out-of-school children, also improve the learning outcome in Nigeria? Because we have that as a challenge, basically.
This very question was also highlighted, at the event. There are times that we don't, or before now, prior to now, we've not been able to track the number of out-of-school children. But a child is in the university, for example, or maybe secondary school, and all of a sudden, you don't see that child, data again in the system. Anyone that is concerned, if we have an active Ministry of Education, look at the records. Look at, in 2026, we have social number. In 2025, we have social number. In 2027, we're expected to have more. And then we're seeing less. At that point, you can start you can start to track what has happened. Why is this number missing from the system? Why has this number... Do you understand? Things like that. It's easier to track out-of-school children, unlike what we used to have before, that you have to go around, and that is for people that really want to even carry out those kind of activities. So this system just makes it quite seamless.
All right, amazing. Thank you so much, Priscilla. And we look forward to seeing more initiatives to change the system, basically, across all sectors. If education is already starting, that means other sectors should start penning down.
It will. One of the president's agenda is to make sure that all agencies are integrated. So as one is developing, the other is inspired, and also apply whatever it is that's making it work. So we're hoping for a better Nigeria eventually.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Priscilla. Well, that's it. Let's turn our focus to Benue State, where the Benue State Resident Electoral Commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Aminu Idris, has assured residents of the Commission's readiness to conduct a credible, peaceful, and transparent 2027 general election. The REC gave the assurance during an interactive session with journalists at the Commission's headquarters in Makurdi. Our Benue State correspondent, Felicity Ndere, has more.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in Benue State says it will only engage factions of political parties officially recognized by their national headquarters in Abuja. The newly deployed 22nd Resident Electoral Commissioner in the state Malam Aminu Kashim Idris made this known during his maiden press briefing after assuming office in Makurdi.
The media remains a